Good morning. Well, it's June 1st. It's time for a porch swing chat. Going to talk about some tragedies and some triumphs. We're just being real here on the Homestead. Stay tuned. Well, I've got my coffee. It's about 6:45 in the morning. The sun is coming up and it's casting light on the far side of my homestead, highlighting my buildings. It's kind of cool out in this time of day. Yeah, waking up with the chickens. So it's June 1st, time for a porch swing chat. Hi, I'm Jerry Hansen, your host. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I do a porch swing chat probably once a month to give you a recap of what we're doing, with what's been going on in the past month, and my plans for the next following month. But the plans are not necessarily always go to plan. Things happen, things change. So as far as a recap for May 1st, a really tragic, epic event happened with our family, and it was tragic. Can't talk much about it, don't want to talk much about it because I'm fighting back tears just saying this much. Our family in Arkansas, in a rural farm just south of Huntsville, were massacred. And it's been a dark cloud over my homestead for the whole month. Got my mother-in-law and my wife, who are really hit hard with this. I'm hit especially hard too, but not as hard as they are, maybe not, but the events are tragic, and it was at the hands of my nephew, and that's what makes it even more tragic. So that's all I can say about that part of it. The funeral is next Friday. The arraignment follows on the 8th. You know, you make plans, your goals set forth for what you want to do this month or even from week to week. And when your whole world comes crashing down around you, what can I say? I want to thank you, my viewers, who have held us up in prayer, kind of knew what was going on. You saw my Facebook page from day one. I think May 2nd is when I posted something very vague. And then my son and others posted on my Facebook page and gave you more details of what was going on, what happened. So if you want to go check more information on my Facebook page, it's Jerry Hansen. And it has the article on there. It's called, I forgot what I titled it, but it's from May 2nd when it was posted, but the event happened on May 1st. So moving on, that was a tragedy. We've had, through the month, we've had a couple of minor, we have some triumphs and a couple of minor, I wouldn't call them tragedies. They're just like, it's part of learning how to farm. And folks, I try to be transparent with you guys. I really do. And some stuff, some triumphs and some tragedies, I don't even put on camera. But for the sake of recapping for the Homestead. I had a birthday this month, or this last month. My birthday coincidentally fell on the same day Mount St. Helens erupted. Yeah, that was an event that was a memorable. Oh boy, was it an event. I remember that day. I was living in Salem at the time, right across the street from the state penitentiary. My first thoughts was when I woke up, the building was shaking, and it's just like, what the heck? I thought maybe, well, is there a riot at the prison or something? Because I could look out my bedroom window. I lived in an upstairs apartment and had guards that were employed at the prison living on either side of me and in the apartment below me. But when I could look straight out my bedroom window across the street and see the main gate to the penitentiary. And I looked out there and there was peace and quiet. But holy moly, there's a mushroom cloud coming up out of the direction of Portland with lightning and all. Oh man, I remember seeing in the news there were hints of maybe, yeah, people, they were trying to evacuate people from St. Helens area. But my first thought was, holy cow, did Portland, Oregon get nuked? So that's what my first thoughts were. I ran in, turned on the TV, and they had the news on just like that. It was the Mount St. Helens erupting. And I got to witness it from where my vantage point. I didn't see the mountain itself. I just saw the plume just being blown right up into the atmosphere. That was eventful. That was like, glad that's over with. But it looks like with the unrest of volcanism going around the world and the shifting of the tectonic plates, it looks like, we could be in for another localized eruption somewhere. I live in the ring of fire, and we do have volcanoes around us. So, yeah, these are the days. We were expecting certain things to happen, so what can you do? Just ride it out, buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Farming, homesteading, triumphs, a little bit of tragedies. My beekeeping. I had 2 swarms out of my hives. Man, these are excellent bees. I've never had so much success in beekeeping ever. I've got really blessed on the homestead with baby animals coming, and then the bees. I almost doubled the amount of the size of my apiary. I started out with buying 5 nucleuses and populating I started out with 4 hives, and then my buddy gave me a flow hive. I put that in the garden, and I'm trying out the flow hive, and I'm reserving my opinion until after this all is said and done and the season's over with to see what I really think of the flow hive. But going back, 2 of my hives swarmed. Fortunately, they were in tree branches in front of the hive, so I was able to get the extending ladder out. Got one and got it rehomed into a box. That I had to run down and grab some more boxes from the local beekeepers resource store. Man Lakes, they merged with Shastina Millworks, and now they're located in White City, Oregon. So I went down to their shop and purchased a bunch of equipment so I can double my apiary, because I figured I'm going to be doing some splits because these bees are very prolific. And sure enough, 2 days later, another hive swarmed. So I successfully got that hive rehomed, but it's interesting because they swarmed on a lower branch, didn't need a ladder, and made the job a lot easier. And then another hive bearded, they like created a swarm, and they bearded on the front of the hive. I asked my mentor, Ken Muhlestein, who has zombie apiaries, and I asked him, I think I made a mistake, I'm not sure, but with the previous week, I had 2 hives swarm. I went and got them off the branches, but then there's a whole beard of bees covering the outside of the hive. And I wasn't sure if they were swarming and the queen happens to be outside and they have a queen inside. I wasn't sure what was going on. So I just went ahead and I did I was going to split that hive anyway. I went and brushed all those bees off into a box. And then I went into the hive and I grabbed, not that hive, I went to another hive and grabbed a frame full of freshly laid eggs, some larvae, and then some capped brood, and then the worker bees, and made careful attention that the queen was not on that frame. So I put that in the box that I brushed all those bees off with, and also found another frame full of food, honey and pollen cakes that the bees made. Put that in there to give them a good start. And if there was not, my theory was if this was not a swarm and the bees were just bearding and going on an orientation flight, is what my mentor suggested they were doing, a bunch of baby bees that hatched, and they're becoming the worker bees, and they're starting their orientation flight to orient themselves with the hive. Yeah, there's that many that can hatch at one time, a lot of babies. Anyway, I captured them, put them in there, and what they do is if they don't have a queen in that colony, they're going to know what to do. They'll choose one freshly laid egg and they'll start feeding it royal jelly, and they'll create a special queen cell around that egg. And then they'll raise a queen. So now I've got a virgin queen in there, and once she hatches, she'll go out, take her mating flight, come back and start laying eggs. I'm getting ready today to do a hive inspection on all my hives back there, so I can see if there is what they call a sign of life, any fresh laid eggs and larvae in there, because it's been long enough for those eggs and larvae to hatch. And we'll see if it's what they call queen right. And then looking for eggs is, especially the fresh laid eggs, is a sign of life, which means if you don't see your queen, there's a sign that the queen is in there because the queen is laying eggs. So I've got 3 viable hives now. Then day before yesterday, I'm out working on my flatbed trailer project series, and I heard that distinct noise again. It's like, oh man, I didn't get to a hive soon enough to do the split. So when the hive gets too crowded, they split themselves. They create a new queen. They take the old queen with them. They go swarm, and they'll light on a branch. And that's exactly what the bees from my flow hive in the corner of the garden did. They swarmed. So I went out and stood there under the swarm, and we just watched them. And they weren't landing anywhere yet because it just started. And so they gradually, I watched them gradually move back up the creek bed that services my pond here. And then they finally lighted on a branch high in a tree. I was able to go get my extending ladder, my beekeeping equipment, and my hive and set it up down below. And they were on a branch so high, my ladder didn't reach it, so I had to prop the ladder against the tree and then step up on this other limb that comes out and goes up. And it gave me enough altitude to be able to get close enough to that limb. So I took a plastic large garbage bag and put it around the colony that's hanging from the limb, and then scraped them off carefully, brushed them off of the branch into the bag, sealed the bag up, climbed down, got stung a couple of times. Yeah, they found their way up my gloves. And anyway, I got down to and got them deposited into the hive. I did not film that one at all, but I just wanted to get it taken care of. So I left the hive there on the ground with the lid slightly open, and to see if I did get the queen in there. And one sign of the queen is, I showed in previous videos, that the bees will come out into an entrance of the home, the hive, and then they'll sit there and stick their butts up in the air and they'll fan their wings, and they're releasing some chemical into the air to let the rest of the bees know the queen is in the house. So looking up on the branch, there was still a little small cluster of bees that were swarming around, and they finally lighted on that branch where their queen formerly was. So I just left it there, and then as the sun set, I went back out and looked, and all the bees were gone off of the limb. So I checked the hive, and yep, the queen was in there. They all came off of the limb. They all went into the hive, and then I rehomed the hive over here in my apiary. So now I've got 4 splits in the month of May. That is awesome, but they weren't actually technically splits. They were just swarm captures. Now I think I'm really a really expert on catching swarms now, but I need to get out and do some splits. One was actually it technically could be called a split because I took brood out and put it in another hive. Got one more split to do, and so I'll have doubled the size of my apiary. I've got one hive set already sold. I've got a buyer for it. And that's what those other hives are for, is I'll populate them with bees and I'll sell them the whole set as is. I will sell them to anyone who wants to purchase the whole set. That way it's just, I strap it down, put it in the back of my truck, take it to their homestead in the evening, and I have set it up and set it on a pre-prepared flat surface. I just tell them level on a spot, put 4 cinder blocks up, and then have it ready, and I'll just come in and set it down and then walk away from it. It'll have a grass plug in the hole, and the bees will eventually work that grass plug out, and then they can reorient themselves to their surroundings at their new home, and then the buyers have a fully functional beekeeping outfit. They don't have to go purchase anything. Everything's right there. I'll just have them purchase a beekeeping outfit and then maybe their hive tool. But that's it. I hear some noises going on over here in the billy goat pen area. I was wondering what that is. I don't know. Anyway, I always have my ears out for strange noises that's going around the farm. So beekeeping has been quite the adventure. Rabbits, got lots of baby rabbits, lots and lots and lots. But all 3 of my does have kindled, and then they have a bunch of little kits running around in the cage. The babies from a month ago or a couple of months ago, I went ahead and they're gone. They went to their new home yesterday. I also was able to bless my neighbors with a bunch of plants to start their garden with, because I started my gardening in January with a propane heater in the greenhouse. So I have a bunch of stuff in there, and I was able to, I planted way too much, so I just gifted them, the tomatoes, the chard, squash. And then a friend of mine came over and picked up my harrow, which I have some parts for it that should be coming in today or tomorrow, that I've got to run them over to her homestead and put the parts on my harrow. And I will film an episode on that. That's interesting. But anyway, I got that harrow from an estate cleanup for free. It was a gift, and I loaned it to my friend so she could use it, because I'm not using it right now. And then my other buddy, my beekeeping buddy, he has at his homestead my rear tine tiller that goes to the tractor. He's using that. And then the flatbed trailer that I'm building, it's being used to deliver the lawnmower. Once I get it fixed, it's already sold. I got to get that lawnmower running and get it delivered to its new owners. And then I can go over and pick up my farm equipment and bring it back. That's why, one of the reasons why I needed the flatbed trailer is to be able to haul my stuff around and loan it out to people who, need it. That's the kind of guy I am. I'm just generous. I'm kind. I just love my friends and just want to see them prosper like I've been blessed and I am prospering. Yep. And speaking of gardening, got the garden planted. Took 2 days to plant that garden. And it looks pretty good now. I'm really impressed. I've got food growing out there already. There's squash growing on the squash plants. There's tomatoes growing on the tomato plants. The root crops I planted in the garden, they're sprouting already. The flowers are coming up. It's doing very well. Very well. I'm surprised this year it's doing very well. Saw a couple of squirrels running across my yard. I'm not sure how effective these scarecrows are doing with squirrels. I may end up having to live trap them and dispatch them because I'm not messing around with it. And there's another creature that is still getting to my eggs in spite of putting the breeding pens together for the ducks and the geese. When I did my chores this morning, I noticed a clutch of 6 eggs that a duck had laid. All but one were eaten. Dag nabbit, those nasty, ghastly beasts. It's really starting to piss me off. I'm about ready to declare war, all-out war on these rodents. They're horrible. For a farmer, they are horrible, and they're destructive. Little ground squirrels, just beasts. Well, they can't get into the turkey pen or the turkey house because I have it blockaded pretty well. I put out poison pellets and got rid of the rats and mice that were creating a really bad problem. Still have a problem with them in the barn. A friend of mine has a couple of kitties, so we're getting 2 10-week-old kittens, and we're going to home them in the barn. We're going to raise them in the barn and teach them how to become barn cats and take care of the rodent population up around there. That's what they're going to be there for. And now I just got to set some traps out for those squirrels. I just don't want them in my garden. As far as my garden goes, I am in all-out protection mode. I'm at war with these creatures. Yeah, I'm done. Get the 22 out, even if I have to, and dispatch them because they've got plenty of environment to eat from. They're not eating from my garden. That's my food. Did have a mystery on the homestead. We had a baby turkey hatch by itself. None of my turkey hens are broody, and apparently the turkey house stays a nice enough temperature through the day and in through the evening that the egg hatched, and I had a baby turkey hatch. So interesting. So I'm doing an experiment up there with just taking 4 eggs and setting them out where they can incubate. Hopefully they do incubate, so long as the ghastly little beasts don't get into the turkey house and eat those eggs. Man, I'm disgusted with those things. Absolutely disgusted. Yeah. So my projects, I got a good start on my trailer. I hopefully finish it off today. When my parts come in for my harrow, we'll completely finish that project up. My tractor, these are goals for the month of June. I bought all the filters. I need to accumulate the fluids, and we're going to do a full several point service on the tractor. We're changing all the fluids out. We're greasing all the points that need to be greased. Every Zerk feeding I could find, we're going to shoot some grease into it. Yeah, all the filters, all the fluids, everything. We're going to do a full service on that tractor and maintain that, because that was a gift to me, and I want to make sure that I absolutely respect that gift and take really good care of it. I had to repair the back tire. You saw that episode a couple months ago, and then we bought a new front tire and a battery for the tractor. And it's yeah, what a gift. It's a joy to have. It really comes in handy. I'm going to be, I want to service it before I do the next big project, which I'm allowing my pond to dry out. You see how the sediment has filled in the pond just over 1 year, because last year I dug it out and it filled in again. But I didn't get the whole thing dug out, just halfway dug out. But it did fill in again, but we're going to dig all the sediment out. I'm going to enlarge the pond just a little bit. And then I'm going to create some berms going up that creek bed to capture the sediment in the berms before it flows into the pond. And that way, with the tractor, all I have to do is go into that berm, scoop out that sediment, and go dump it into a place where I want to plant something or whatever, because it's good soil, but it's coming down off the neighbor's property. He's losing his real estate into my pond. But I'm going to take some efforts on making those berms and doing catchments. And that way, all I have is just water flowing in there. We're saving the grasses and we're going to be replanting them so the water like filters out through the grasses and the grass will filter it down. I'll plant some cattails in there and some other aquatic plants because I do want to stock it with fish and maybe some crawdad eggs because I want it to be deep enough and take it down to its original depth, and then fill it up. And the ducks and the geese will have their habitat back, and we'll have the pond turtles back. I noticed they moved out because the water got too shallow for them. And yeah, homesteading. I'm enjoying the homesteading, and I think that's what's helping me cope with the tragedies of the first of last month, is just keeping myself distracted and maintaining the homestead and doing what I love. I personally love and enjoy doing, to try to find some peace and solace through this. Harsh, really harsh. So another project I got to do is get my Dodge Dakota. Got it back from the mechanics. Found out the starter went bad on it. Bought a new starter. So I'll be putting that on as soon as I get the... I got to get the trailer finished today. The riding lawnmower finished because it's sold. I just need to get it finished and fixed. We're putting a new solenoid switch on the riding lawnmower. I'll do a video on that. And then we're putting the starter in the pickup. Hopefully I can get it all done today. Today's June 1st. And that way I get a lot of things off of my plate and I can move forward with some other projects for the homestead that are for this month. I want to do some more gardening this month. Got to find some more cucumber seeds among my seed banks and get those planted. Because I really want dill pickles. I'm thinking I've got dill growing and I'm going to be saving back that dill so I can use it to make my famous zesty dill pickles. I'm also growing peppers, so we'll get the zest, the bite. My family loves that stuff. Anyway, that's the Porch Swing chat. Sorry there was some uncomfortable information in there for you, but that's where my life is right now. And like I promised, to be transparent, open, and honest with you guys, you see, just like there's no lipstick on the pig out here. What you see is what you get. We're real, we're keeping it real, and we're just like anybody else. This is homesteading. It's not for the faint. It is not for the faint. It's a lot of hard work, but you gotta love it. I love it. On the 21st of this month, I'm gonna film a very special episode, and it's on my weight loss journey. It'll be 1 year that I've been on this weight loss for, I started June 21st. Last year. I need to get down to my goal weight or as close to it as possible, because in exactly 2 weeks I filmed that movie. I got a part in a movie and we're going down and filming it. They built a set and then they have an exterior location. We're going to be doing rehearsals tomorrow, and then in 2 weeks we're actually going to film the scene. We had the director and then the main actor, who's the writer and producer, out at the farm the day before yesterday. I gave them the 5-cent tour of the farm. They saw my YouTube channel, and they were very curious, so they came out and looked at the homestead and got a nice compliment, and I really got a nice compliment from my acting skills. So they are working on 3 other projects, I think is what he mentioned. So they're trying to talk me into joining them on at least a couple of their other projects. I have to see the script. to see if that's something I want to be connected to. But I'll see, we'll see. I may do it. I've done lots of different shows in the past, and we'll see how it goes. Well, I'm Jerry Hansen, your host. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm in a morning coffee chat on the porch swing. One of my favorite places to sit, just scanning over my domain. Yes, love it. Please stay tuned to more videos. You could do that by subscribing, by clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I upload them. Give us a thumbs up, like the show, and also leave a comment or a tip. I enjoy learning tips from you guys. You guys help me out a lot. And also, click that share button. Sharing my videos on your social media platforms helps us out. And check out my merchandise below. I've got cups, coffee cups with my Pine Meadows Hobby Farm logo on it. And also on the other side, I've got my production company logo, Duck in a Cup Production Company. I also have the little water bottles and the big travel coffee mug, among other merchandise. You can check those out. Please always be safe. Always be kind, please. Please, folks, be kind. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye now.